Hey everyone, Mario again, coming at you with another episode of Theater Experience, the video series where I see films that I personally enjoy or have been meaning to see on the big screen. Today, it is actually one of my personal favorite films, a film I've enjoyed ever since I was a kid. It's one of my favorite horror films, and films in general from the 80s, and one of the best remakes ever made, no matter what genre you want to put it in. Whether you're just talking in general or in the horror genre, it's definitely in the running. In horror, undisputedly, it's in the running. It, of course, is the Chuck Russell directed, Frank Darabont written film starring Shawnee Smith and Kevin Dillon, The Blob. I think you pissed it off. Yeah, that's one of Kevin's famous lines in the film from the third act. Now, some of you are probably going to wonder, where on earth did you see this film on the big screen? Well, it was out in my neck of the woods, about 80 miles north of where I live, at the New Beverly Cinema in LA. Yep, the New Beverly Cinema, the theater that is owned but not operated by Quentin Tarantino. I don't think he hardly ever goes there, even when they show his own films, because I don't think he has the time to just poke his head in, and he goes, "Hey there, guys, how y'all doing?" That'd be funny if we did that randomly on times, like, "Are you guys watching Pulp Fiction? You got my scene yet?" Now, just before I get into my actual theater experience, the drive to and from there wasn't that bad. I left about 7 because this was a midnight showing on a Saturday night. The traffic was a little there once I got into LA County, but it wasn't horrendous. I've been through worse driving through LA County, trust me. And back, it was virtually non-existent. The way back, from the time I left the theater to the time I got home, was about 93 minutes. Maybe a little bit more, counting how long I was on the road, because I did not count how many minutes I was on the road, so probably more like 100 minutes. But from LA to my house, that is excellent time. Because who's going to be on the road at 2 a.m.? Oh boy, 2 a.m. Like all the showings at the New Beverly Cinema, this was on film. 35 millimeter film, and I definitely felt that. At the beginning and throughout random points, you could definitely tell this copy was on film. It had that feel of when you're watching a film in the theater and it's actual film. And the only negative was that in the last part of the film, there were a couple frames missing, so it jumped. But it was in that last part where the Reverend's preaching in the tent, which is the part that's always felt tacked on to me as a sequel bait ending. So, in interrupting there, no biggie. But I have to note it jumps from the preacher in the middle of his hellfire and brimstone sermon, "I'm but the faithful." It jumps from the middle of that to the Reverend in the back, pouring himself a little hair of the dog, which is an interesting jump cut. If you ask me, it's just a funny thing to watch. Like, ah. And of course, after that, we get the first couple chords of Brave New Love. Hearing that on a big surround sound, that made my night. The one thing I really did appreciate seeing the film on the big screen was the cinematography. The cinematography for this film was excellent. Maybe it's also that I haven't seen the film in a couple years, because I think the last time I watched the film was when I did it for Monster Fest a couple years ago as a request to my friend Efrey, and I don't think I've watched it in its entirety since then. I know that's odd, it's one of my favorite films, but you get on a kick where you don't want to watch a film for a while, and then you return to it and it's like, "Hello there, my old friend." And that's what this felt like. It's like, oh. It was Mark Irwin who did the cinematography for this film, but if you look at 2 other films he did, you can see why the cinematography is amazing. This is the guy who did the cinematography for The Dead Zone, one of my favorite Stephen King adaptations, and RoboCop 2, another childhood favorite. As I always, when I look at the cinematographers in their list, I'm always finding these weird little childhood film connections. As archers would say, it's a conspiracy. And then, of course, the Blob special effects. All of them, all the practical effects, all the math work, all the puppetry, all the stop motion, all the composite effects, all looked excellent on the big screen. And I appreciate them even more now. And, of course, the acting from Shawnee Smith, Kevin Dillon, all the other supporting actors. Great to see on the big screen. Of course, it's also great to see Flag's little moment of jumping the gate and then flipping the bird to the government agents. And it was also fun to see the film with a audience that loved the film. The only part where I'm like, really, you're choosing now to laugh, was when they laughed at one of the death scenes. It's like, really? If you were laughing at the original, yeah, because the effects would be a little dated, but these effects are still excellent. I don't see why you're laughing. Other than that little nitpick, I liked a lot of the audience reactions around me, like the guy sitting next to me going like, hell yeah, during a lot of the scenes, mainly when its character's kicking ass, like when Shawnee Smith's character gets the machine gun and starts shooting at the Blob. Come on! Basically her Ripley moment. And then other moments throughout the film, the audience was... There was a couple moments where they were laughing, where you can see why they're laughing, like the one jock character that gets killed in the car. There was one line that came to mind, but I decided not to say it. Usually when I think of these one-liners to say in the theater, I don't, because I don't know how the audience might react. Of course, this one kind of is tied into something Trachtenberg said in his Good Bad Flicks episode. Date rape. Date rape! Anyone who's seen his review probably knows what I mean by that. And then, of course, you could probably come up with a one-liner related to his demise, but I got nothing off the top of my head. Probably something like, I changed my mind, or some weird thing like that. Everyone laughed at one of my favorite little bits of levity in the film, and that's the tie-in from the condom buying scene to the Meet My Dad scene. A little play on that whole urban legend about the guy that sold the condoms ends up being the father of the guy's date. And I just love that shot. The guy lowers the paper, he's like... I just love how he sells it on his face. Another quick thing to mention was the concessions. Now, they were not the same size as at the theaters we'll see around town at the big megaplexes, but the prices were a lot more economical. For the price of one soda or one popcorn at the theaters by me, I got a large popcorn and a large drink. Like I said, they were not the same size as the other ones, but it's like old school large. It's more than adequate for when you're at the theater. You're not going to come out going, oh, I ate too much. Good size for a theater. You're there for a snack, not for a meal. There were trailers at the beginning. It's all the other films that are going to be showing soon. Like, for example, this coming week as I record this, they're going to be showing Heavy Metal. So they showed the trailer in film for Heavy Metal, which that was fun to see. And I could tell you that I will be seeing more films at the New Beverly Cinema. I'm going to try to time visits to when I'm already there, like if I'm there for a convention. Like in a couple months I'm going to be going over there for Stanley's LA Comic Con. I'm going to see what they're going to be playing that night, see if there's anything worth staying around for. And they also are going to be doing stuff at the Egyptian, so I might start going there too. I know it's 80 mile one-way trip, but it's worth it to see some of these films on the big screen and in historic venues, because New Beverly, that theater has been there for a while, even if it hasn't always been called that. And the Egyptian Theater, need I say more? The only thing that would be even better is actually seeing a film at the Chinese Theater, and I'm talking about an old film at the Chinese Theater. Like seeing the original King Kong at the Chinese Theater. And nothing really much else to say. It's a film I've loved, a film I've already reviewed, that I might do more talks of one day down the road. Film, it was amazing to see on the big screen at film. I love the venue, we've already gone over that. And nothing much else to say about this theater experience. Like always, the usual shill. If you like the video, like it. Subscribe for more. Share the video with your friends and family if you think they'd like it. And of course, the usual social media platform shill below. Like I've said before, mainly active on Instagram and Facebook, but I am on Twitter every now and then. So stay tuned for some more videos, some more movie reviews, and some more Talks videos coming down the pipe.